Farad's hands moved with practiced precision across the damaged chest plate, his welding torch casting blue-white shadows across the cramped repair bay. The armor belonged to Commander Elsa Kovac, humanity's finest pilot, and it had taken a beating during yesterday's skirmish with the Zerathi fleet. Scorch marks spiderwebbed across the composite alloy, and a fist-sized puncture gaped just above where her heart would be. He should have been dead. They all should have been dead. "You work with unusual care for a mere technician," a voice said, smooth as silk and cold as the void. Farad's torch slipped, nearly scoring the armor's inner lining. He spun to find Queen Thessera herself standing in the doorway of his workshop, her crystalline exoskeleton refracting the harsh fluorescent lights into 1,000 colors. The Zerathi monarch stood nearly 8 feet tall, her 4 arms folded in what might have been amusement or threat. With her species, it was always hard to tell. "Your Majesty," Farad said carefully, setting down his tools, "I wasn't aware you'd be touring the station's maintenance levels. I go where curiosity leads me." Her multifaceted eyes fixed on the armor, then on him. "The treaty allows me certain freedoms. Tell me, human, why do you hesitate?" "Hesitate?" "Your hands shake when you work near the breach over the primary circulatory organ housing. I have watched you for 17 minutes. You have cleaned that section 4 times, adjusted your instruments 6 times, yet you do not repair it." Farad's jaw tightened. Of course the alien queen had been observing him. The peace treaty was only 3 weeks old, signed in desperation after both sides had bled themselves to a standstill. Trust was a luxury neither species could afford yet. "It's a critical area," he said. "I'm being thorough. You are being afraid." Thessera glided closer, her movements unsettlingly graceful. "This armor belongs to the one called Elsa, the one who destroyed my flagship, the one who killed my consort." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Farad's hand drifted unconsciously toward the plasma cutter on his workbench. Not a weapon, but it could be in a pinch. "The war is over," he said quietly. "Is it?" Thessera reached out with one of her lower arms, a talon tracing the puncture in the armor. "This wound. My ships made this. I ordered the strike that nearly killed her. And now I find her. Friend? Lover? Comrade? I find you unable to seal the hole where death nearly entered? She's my commanding officer, and yes, my friend." Farad met those alien eyes without flinching. "And you're right. I am hesitating. Because every time I look at this damage, I see how close we came to losing her, how close your people came to winning. And yet you did not lose. We did not win." Thessera's head tilted in that distinctly inhuman way. "Curious. Your species fights with such ferocity, such impossible determination. We studied your history before the war. You are fractured, divided, weak individually. By all logical assessment, we should have crushed you in the first month. But you didn't. No, because you do not fight like logical creatures. You fight like the universe itself offends you by suggesting you should lose." She gestured at the armor with 2 arms while the others remained folded. "Elsa flew a damaged craft into my flagship's main reactor. She had 17 opportunities to retreat. She took none of them. When my consort demanded her surrender, she laughed and fired her last missile into his bridge." Farad had heard the story. Everyone had. It was the turning point of the war. The moment when the Zerathi realized that humanity would rather die than submit. "She's brave," he said simply. "She is insane," Thessera corrected. "As are you all. Beautifully, terrifyingly insane." The queen moved to the workbench, picking up Farad's welding torch with surprising delicacy. "I came here to understand, to see if I could find fear in human eyes when confronted by the creature who nearly exterminated your species. Instead, I find you paralyzed not by fear of me, but by fear of inadequacy, fear that your repair will not be perfect, fear that you might fail the one you care for." She handed him the torch. "This is why you won, human. Not because you are stronger or smarter than my people, but because you care so deeply that it becomes a weapon. Your love is a vulnerability and a strength simultaneously. We Zerathi do not have this. We fight for empire, for resources, for logical objectives. You fight because someone might lose someone they care about. It makes you unpredictable, unstoppable." Farad took the torch, its weight suddenly feeling different in his hand. "You're saying my fear is what makes humanity dangerous. I am saying your fear is what makes you human, and your humanity is what makes you dangerous." Thessera moved toward the door, then paused. "Repair the armor, Farad. Do not hesitate. Elsa will need it. There are whispers that not all my people accept the peace. There will be challenges ahead. Will you honor the treaty? The question escaped before Farhat could stop it. The Queen's crystalline laugh was like breaking glass. I have no choice. To fight humanity again would be to fight an enemy that cares too much to lose. We are warriors, human. We are not fools. She paused at the threshold. Besides, I find I'm curious what your species will accomplish now that you are not spending all your energy trying not to die. Perhaps you will surprise us again. When she was gone, Farhat stared at the torch in his hand, then at the puncture in Elsa's armor. His hands were steady now. He thought about what the Sarah had said. About humanity's greatest weakness being its greatest strength. About how love and fear and stubborn refusal to accept defeat had won a war that every logical analysis said they should have lost. He thought about Elsa, who would need this armor repaired perfectly because she'd inevitably throw herself into danger again. Because that's what humans did. They cared too much to stay safe. Farhat smiled and ignited the torch. The repair took 20 minutes. It was perfect. When Elsa came to collect her armor the next morning, she ran her fingers over the sealed breach and whistled low. Beautiful work, Farhat. You've outdone yourself. Just doing my job. Commander. Still, she met his eyes, and something passed between them, understanding. Perhaps gratitude. The recognition that they'd both survived something that should have killed them. Thank you. As she left with her repaired armor, Farhat returned to his workbench. There were 17 other damaged suits waiting for his attention. 17 other humans who needed him to care enough to make every repair perfect. He picked up his torch and got to work. Because that's what humans did. They cared, and in a universe that tried to convince them they should give up, that caring made all the difference.